Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Jennie, and I'm a resident here. And Deidre found out that I was taking the Master Naturalist program. It's through the University of Florida, and she just wasn't sure that many people were aware of it. So we just wanted to share with you a little bit about the facts about it and see if it's something that anyone might be interested in around here. Here's a little overview.
Hi, my name's Marty Main. I've been a professor at the University of Florida since 1996, during which time I developed the Florida Master Naturalist program. I needed to figure out an educational program for citizens.
So what does the Florida Master Naturalist program mean to me? It's giving me a much better awareness of the ecosystems around me and in my backyard. I think it's a great thing to be able to teach your kids from. It's a great thing to be able to teach your friends from. And yeah, I'm loving it.
I've really enjoyed the Master Naturalist program because of the immense diversity of the people who take the class and the extreme abilities of the people who lead the class.
The field trips are fantastic. You see all the pieces of an ecosystem and how they fit together, their wonders and their problems.
Professionally, this class is really going to help me out in terms of when we do public programming, helping to educate the public about not just about the cultural but also the natural resources.
In a word, I would call it beneficial or even essential.
The main factor in influencing people's desire to change turns out to be because they see their neighbors are doing it. The Master Naturalist program empowers each person who enrolls to become those neighbors who lead by example.
I remember a fellow loading my canoes onto a shuttle to go up in the Fishing Creek, and he looked at me, and this is kind of a salt of the earth guy, and he goes, I never looked at anything for 28 years, and after I took the Master Naturalist program now, I see nature in an entirely different way. You've changed my life, and that means a lot.
I know that's one of their canned videos. I just liked that it showed a little bit of the different types of stuff that you can learn and do from the different programs that they have. And the main thing, this is what I've done, is the core courses. If you take all three of these courses, you get certified as a Florida Master Naturalist. If you just take one of them, then you're considered a certified Master Naturalist in that particular field. Each core module is about 40 hours. It's about an hour and a half, 2 nights a week. And it's kind of a combination of Zoom and in the field stuff. There is homework. It is pretty challenging as far as it goes on for a couple months and with the homework. And then you're also required to give an individual presentation on your own. It can be any subject that you're passionate about that kind of ties into the subject of the class, as long as the teacher approves it. And then you also have to do a group project, and they want you to do something that can be taken into the real world and used almost immediately if you can. It costs about $245. It's almost $300 if you want the book, but a tip I would say is don't get the book because they're kind of outdated. And most of the instructors are going to go out of their way to give you updated information. And it would just be too time consuming to go along in the book and change all of it. It's too much. So I would just think that the one that you get electronically is better. So these are the core courses again: freshwater systems, coastal systems, and upland systems. So last fall I did this past fall, I did upland systems. And it's interesting because I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, along the saltwater coast. And I knew a lot of the stuff on coastal systems, and I think of Florida being very similar to Charleston, you know, the oysters, the mud, things like that. But we do have so many animals here that we don't have, even just up in South Carolina, the gopher tortoises, the scrub jays, and then as far as plants, like we have mangroves down here. So there's a lot of stuff. I was actually kind of surprised how much I learned. And then upland systems, I don't know anything about pine trees and forests or anything. So I thought it would be kind of boring because I'm usually not even that interested in that type of environment, but I found it to be really fascinating. If you can get Kelly Yusa as an instructor, she is phenomenal. She is absolutely amazing. You're not bored for a single second in the class. She makes it fun, entertaining. She brings in stories, she brings in different speakers, and then the field trips are really cool too. It does fill up quickly, so if you check online and find out when the next one in your area, they offer them at different places all around the state. So you could take coastal systems here, but you might also be able to take it in Tampa or on the West Coast. And you just have to, I would try to get one here because it's easier. There's going to be more people in your class that are closer. It makes it easier to do a group project. And then the field trips are usually closer too. Now, if you're not interested in that level, that's pretty in-depth, that those core courses and the Master Naturalist certification, they do offer some smaller courses. One of the groups of courses is called Land Steward courses. I'm actually just started last week taking the second one, the conservation science one. That is Kelly, who was my instructor for the other ones. It's her favorite class to teach. So she kind of encouraged us to do it. She said, look, this one's just fun and interesting. There's no homework, there's no group project, there's no individual presentation. And then if you take all 4 of these, it's also a little cheaper. See, that one's $160 to $185, and it's 24 hours instead of 40 hours. So if you do these, if you do all of these, you'll be considered a Florida Master Naturalist land steward. And then the other option is restoration courses. I haven't done any of these yet, but they sound really, really interesting. I'm pretty sure she does the coastal shoreline restoration one. I'm not sure if she might also do invasive plants, but since I've only had her as an instructor, I feel kind of spoiled. I'm scared to do the freshwater one. I'd like to do that eventually, but I don't know who I'm going to get with that. But I'm sure they're all really good because you have to be passionate about the environment to do these. If you complete these 3 courses, you're considered a restoration Florida Master Naturalist. And then here's just the information. We can put this on the Facebook page if you don't want to write it down now. But basically, if you go to Google and search Florida Master Naturalist, it will take you to the University of Florida. The first thing that come up will be this website link, and it takes you there. This is a pitcher plant we saw in the Wetlands Preserve. It was a really cool privately owned property that Kelly is friends with the owners, and they do, the guy who owns it is the head of the prescribed burn group that for Northeast Florida. So they use prescribed burns on their property and do a really good job of it. And it's really interesting to hear how, as private landowners, they partner with a lot of local entities, agencies, and government agencies, and even nonprofit groups. So there's some cool stuff going on in the state, and they're all really excited about the Florida Wildlife Corridor, that law that just recently got passed to put money toward preserving some lands that connect these different wildlife habitats so that there's connectivity all the way up throughout Florida. And then the water moccasin coppermouth, that was my first time seeing one in the wild, and we saw it while we were out there on their property. So just some things that you can see when you do these classes. So that's the end of the presentation. I just wanted to give you an overview of that program. Has anyone done any of these before?